So, our notes tonight are about the lawmaking process, how a bill goes through the Congress to become a law. And it's a long, complex process, but we're going to try to simplify it as much as we can. So, terminology first. A proposed law is called a bill. And any member of Congress can propose a law, right? When they do, it's called a bill, it's given a number. It only becomes a law when it is passed by both houses of Congress and signed by the president. So most of what we're dealing with are bills. And a bill can be proposed in either house of Congress. It could start in the Senate or it could start in the House of Representatives. So to simplify as much as possible the steps in passing a bill. First, the bill is going to be introduced in either the House or the Senate. It's going to have a sponsor, which is the person who wrote the bill, who introduces it, brings it up. Immediately, the bill is going to be sent to a committee. Right? Remember, there's 100 people in the Senate, there's 435 people in the House of Representatives. You can't sit there and have the entire House and the entire Senate look at every single bill. So they're going to send it to a committee who's going to study the bill further. So the committee studies it, they discuss it, they may make some changes to it, and then they're going to vote on it. If the committee likes it, they'll vote for it. If they don't like it, they'll vote against it and kill the bill. If it gets through the committee with a thumbs up, then it will go to the full House of Representatives or the full Senate. And it's going to do the same thing again. They will discuss it, they will make changes to it, and they will vote on it. If it passes through all of that, then it's going to go to the other house and start the whole process over again. So if it starts in the House and gets all the way through, then it'll go to the Senate. If it starts in the Senate and gets all the way through, then it'll go to the House of Representatives. There is one extra important step in the House of Representatives. When a bill passes through the committee in the House, it's going to go to the House Rules Committee. And the House Rules Committee will decide the order that the bills will be voted on. And it's sort of like a traffic cop in the House. It controls the flow of the bills in the House of Representatives. So there is no Senate Rules Committee, just in the House, because most of the bills that are getting introduced are going to start in the House because they have more people. So the House Rules Committee is one extra step between the committee and the full House of Representatives. And that's a very important committee to figure out which bills are going to get to go to the front of the line, which bills are going to have to go to the back of the line. A bill has to pass both houses. It can't just pass one or the other. It has to pass both houses in order to become a law. Typically, if it does, the House and the Senate versions of a bill are not going to be exactly the same. Because remember, there's lots of steps where you can make some changes to it. So, if the House and the Senate pass a bill and it's not exactly the same, it's going to go to an extra step called the Conference Committee. And the Conference Committee is made up of a few people from the House of Representatives and a few people from the Senate. And they're going to work out a compromise. They're going to iron out the differences between the two bills, and then they're going to send it back to each house for one final vote. If it passes that final vote, if the compromise version passes that final vote, then it will go to the president. Now, as you can hopefully get a sense, bills can be killed or can die at a lot of different steps along the way. In fact, most bills don't come anywhere close to getting passed. For example, in 2012, nearly 7,000 bills were proposed. And out of that 7,000, only 148 actually became a new law. So let's talk about some steps when a bill can be killed. When the bill goes to the committee chairman could decide not to even talk about it. If the committee does talk about it, they could vote against it. If the committee votes for it, but the House Rules Committee decides not to schedule a vote, that would kill the bill. If the whole House, either the House or the Senate, votes against it, that will kill the bill. If a senator does what's called a filibuster to keep the bill from being voted on, that could kill the bill. A filibuster is something unique to the Senate because senators do not have time limits on discussion. So a senator can get up and continue talking in order to keep a bill from getting voted on. One house could vote for the bill, but the other house could turn it down. So if the Senate votes for it, but the House of Representatives votes against it, for example, that kills the bill. If one or both of the houses vote against the bill that comes out of the conference committee, that'll kill the bill. If the president vetoes the bill, that kills the bill. If the House and the Senate try to override the veto, but they fail, that kills the bill. So as you can see, it's very, very difficult for a bill to make it all the way through. Sometimes so many changes are added to a bill along the way that it ends up getting killed, not because people didn't like the bill, but because they didn't like all the changes that were added to it. So this visual here gives you a good sense of kind of that funnel. The lawmaking process is kind of like a funnel where it's so difficult and it's so complex that very few bills actually become a law.